rough night. Live calls tonight, 234-738-2552. Standard toll rates apply, all that fun stuff. You guys already know that. If you have not saved that number to your phone, please go ahead, because next month, drum roll please, the 8th, I want to say. I didn't look it up. I should have looked it up. 8th annual prediction show. I think so. Sounds about right. Feels good saying it. The views and opinions of this show are those of the host and guest and do not represent any sponsors, affiliates, or anybody else. Hey, I know I told you it's been a long afternoon. It has been. That's not a lie. But hey, it's good to be here. It's good to be here with all of you fine people. It's good to see everybody on the duck pond. It's great to be here. Let me tell you. Okay, so there's a lot going on in the world today, I believe. I honestly have done no prep for tonight's show, so whatever you want to talk about is fine, because I literally have no clue what's going on in the world today at all. I know what happened yesterday, right? Trump had COVID, Trump got released from Walter Reed, and all of that. If it happened today, I guess I do know something. Captain Canada sent me a message that Eddie Van Halen, right, died this afternoon. Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't want to be wrong about that. I don't remember. I read it. It shocked me, and it didn't make me feel good, and I just closed it again. Oh, Brian Bowden, yes, I never wear your shirt, and I never wear my shirt either. Yeah, I do good at this. Anyways, that's a whole other conversation for another day. Okay, so a lot of things going on in the world. A lot of things I don't know. Okay, and so where do you want to go? Somebody throw something out. Where do we want to go tonight? I don't know. Wide open. We'll talk about anything. I'm willing to go anywhere. I'm fired up. Yes. Here's the deal, right? So while we're here, let's talk about this for a minute. Live predictions, first Tuesday in November. A few other housekeeping things that I needed to talk about. Duck pond's doing great. Oh boy, totally just lost where I was going with all that. So there's all of that. What else? Yes, Eddie Van Halen, 65 of cancer. That's just not what I wanted to see today. Like I said, that's probably what I seen today. How come trends on Twitter do me no favors right now? Honestly. What a joke. Honestly, what a joke. Okay, so that's weird. When you look over and your video is frozen. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on there. Obviously. That's weird, but it startles me. What is Twitter? I don't know. Join Germantown Runner and me half-heartedly occasionally on Twitter. I mean, not on Twitter. Jeez, oh pizza. Woo. On Gab. I'm there. Follow me. Make me pay more attention to it. I fail at that. Also on Twitter, for whatever reason. Yeah, I'm a little, yeah. Brian Bowden, you're right. I am rattled tonight like you wouldn't believe. So, but that's not here and there. We're here tonight, so we're going to do this. Let's take a moment and gather up the things that are going on in the world that I'm trying to think about. And I just, like I said, I literally did not prepare for tonight's show whatsoever. See, Mark Cuban's at it again. That's not a surprise. Going over with Ted Cruz. That's probably always fun. A bunch of sports stories, which I don't care about. Let's see. Why is there... I was talking about this a few months ago with COVID. There is not much news right now. It's all related to that. I mean, there's sports headlines here. And for those who aren't playing along at home, I'm actually on themalliardreport.com scrolling down through this wonderful news site that I've put together for everybody. So if you're wondering where I'm at, that's where I'm at right now, just running down through the headlines. And this is what I do on a daily basis. I mean, I love themalliardreport.com. Going to work on some things here to make that even better for everybody. But it's coming. Kim Kardashian says Kanye's battle of COVID-19 was so scary and unknown. Okay. Okay. Wow. The mainstream media is letting me down. Or maybe it's my site that's letting me down. I don't know. I'll have to go check. See what's actually going on. Okay. So, what's going on in the world today? What is going on? What things are bothering you? Okay. I know this is a big issue for a lot of things right now. Okay, so let's talk about it. COVID versus the election versus Halloween. Now, I know everybody out there is going to say, what gives? How does Halloween enter that equation? Right? I think it does. Now, I don't want to get political with Halloween because obviously if you listen to the show, you know paranormal is a big part of the show history and my history. Excuse me. But there comes a point where the tipping point about this, right? The COVID restrictions and all this other stuff. I see Tom Wolf issued another set of guidelines today. For those who do not pay attention to Pennsylvania politics, you probably should. Just because it's unlike anything else. Well, maybe I'm biased. Maybe I shouldn't say unlike anything else, but it is fun to be a Pennsylvanian right now. I think it's a microcosm of every state right now. There's so much red versus blue, it is ridiculous. And that comes from the independent, right? I think at the end of the day, we all forget, independent included, forget the common good. And I know I've probably said this before, and I've said that, I'll say it again right now. Party affiliation is not a reason to vote for somebody. You should be voting for the person, not what they stand for. Now, I know there's some juxtapositions and some problems in there, but I think the parties have gotten overwhelmingly, we hear about draining the swamp, right, quote unquote, and all that, but the party enables that system. That's going to cause problems for some people. A lot of problems for people. Because it enables this. And enables people to stand behind something they don't have to stand behind. Germantown Runner just pulls up a fact that I did see before, and I was totally my mind. October will have the rare second full moon, which is known as the blue moon, of course. Halloween is on a Saturday, which, amen, I think, part of me says Halloween should always be on a Saturday, not necessarily the 31st, but that's here or there. And this is the first time that this has happened since 1946. Fun fact for Germantown Runner, when does it happen again? I don't know. He's going to have to look it up. That's bad. I shouldn't do that to him. Yeah. Full moons only blue moons only happen every so many years. Maybe that's more the question. Because it will be a while before it happens in October again, obviously. Somebody out there knows. Some astronomer is listening, laughing at me, because that's just their cup of tea, and I don't get it. I don't know it. I should, right? I shouldn't be unloading onto this. Live show technicality here for the folks that are listening in the chat room. I love you all, and if you're not signed in, you don't have to create an account. Right there above where it says message, you just type a name. Some folks use their name, like I do. Some folks use other things, which is fine, which I appreciate. And then you can say hello, and you could be part of the duck pond. I appreciate you watching. Those people on YouTube are watching. That's a whole different type of watching. They're watching me, watching myself, because for some reason I got something on my face that I don't remember getting, and I'm unsettled by it. And this is literally the first time I've looked at myself all day, and I realized that I'm a wreck. But that's here or there. That's the beauty of video, reminding you of what kind of day you've had. So there's all that. So there's that. Now, I know Chris Olson has popped into the chat room here, and he's an NBA fan. It seems weird to me. The NBA Finals, the Major League Baseball playoffs are in their DS rounds. I was at a restaurant this afternoon, noticing all this stuff on ESPN, because I literally have not watched ESPN since the last time I was at a restaurant I had ESPN on. months, years, decades. No, not decades. That's overstating. But it seems weird to me to be having the NBA Finals in October. I mean, the baseball playoffs traditionally are this time of year, so that's cool. But basketball playoffs are June. U.S. Open's traditionally on Father's Day. I know it was in September. I did not watch it. I couldn't get into it. It was the wrong time of year. So what are the things going on here that are impacted? Now, I know this. Now, I know right now, let's talk about this. What are some things that have changed for the better? The next blue moon will be August 22nd, 2021. Right before my birthday. Sweet. Is that a show day? Oh, that's a horrible... See, I'm so ADD right now. This show's so interactive right now, it's making my head spin. And this is why you need to tune in live and listen to it live and be engaged in this process of my madness. Because that's all it is sheer and complete madness right now. But normally it's better. Sometimes it's worse. 21st is a Saturday. Another full moon on another blue moon on a Saturday. If I did that right. I might not have. Okay. Where was I? Man. Notes would be helpful tonight. Don't forget to call in if you want to end this madness and put me out of my misery. Somebody out there does. It's okay. Or maybe you just like me sounding like Andy Kaufman. I don't know. Is that a fair statement? 234-738-2552. Whatever you want to talk about. I'm not going to throw terms or a question on it. Now, if you do want a question, it's a Sunday. Thank you, Germantown Runner, for cleaning that up. Apparently, oh, you know what I looked at? I looked at the 21st because of, yeah. That's why Germantown Runner's here and very important. Now, if you do need a question and you do feel like you need the question to call into and answer to, I've got your question for you. I just thought about it. Normally I do questions of the night on the video to see if anybody's paying attention. Waves to the 4 people that have paid attention. Here's your question of the night. Ready? Question of the night. Brought to you by duckpondshop.com. Coming soon. Well, in place already, but these kind of things. Ready? What is, or what was, right? I know. Kind of sticky on the grammar. I didn't take too much time to think about this. What is your favorite childhood costume? What was your favorite childhood costume? And or what would you be this year? Not saying if you're going as an adult, but if you were, what's the good age to cut off trick-or-treating at 10? So what would you be if you were 10 years old today, or what was your favorite costume? There's your open lines questions if you need one. If not, just light it up in the chat room so we can discuss. And would you discuss No, I didn't discuss the debates at all last week. It's hard for me to watch and listen and talk. Wow, the Germantown Runner points up a data point from the NBA that the least watched finals game in history. Game 2 of the NBA Finals were down by a whopping? Is that fair? 68%. I seen an article the other day that all sports are down since COVID, which does not, okay, right hand, left hand, right? Does not make sense to me at all. But Brian Boda just posted in the chat room. He says, go woke, go broke. I'm not going that extreme, right? I think there is some discussions that should be had from athletes' perspectives because of their positions in the community. But I'm also of the thought those discussions need to be having in those communities and not necessarily on sports talk radio and on the broadcasts of the games. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm willing to be convinced otherwise on this. So don't think this is a hard and fast rule. But I'm here to tell you, sports, Netflix, TV, books, are escapism, right? You go there to get up, to give up your life for 4 hours, basketball, football, baseball, right? You go to that arena, that stadium, that ballpark, right? And you want to be immersed in that culture. And you want to leave there either really angry that your team lost or really sad that your team lost, and that's it. Have I seen Sports Center's ratings for the last year? No, I haven't, but I did. Now notice, okay, so moment of transparency. Let's take this back for everybody who's listening for the first time and really has no understanding of why this conversation matters to me. So let's take this back. Let's take this back 2001-ish in my life. I watched Don Imus on MSNBC before he got fired for his horrible comments that he made. And I started watching. Now, see, notice I was one of those. I'm an early morning person, right? So I would get up at 6, even though I didn't catch the school bus until 7:40-ish, right? So I had an hour and a half, and I was not, one of these really, as you can see right now, I'm not a hard person to get ready to do something. So I spend an hour and a half watching news, staying up on current events, and I'd flip over to ESPN back when Sports Center was Sports Center, catch those highlights. I can see some people know what I'm talking about. And then on ESPN News, this new radio show called Mike and Mike premiered somewhere in this era, right? And those who know sports talk radio know those two, right? They became radio Hall of Famers and had wild success until just recently when they broke up in a horrible, miserable divorce, which ended ESPN radio as we know it, for multiple reasons, right? So now that we've kind of got the backstory discussed, and Sports Center has become more of a debate, culture, like everybody has hot takes, spit and debate. I mean, I don't know. I cut the cord 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever that was. It's been a while. But I know watching Sports Center became less about the highlights and I think about Keith Overman and, oh, come on, Stuart Scott and Dan Patrick doing like those guys. Like the highlights were the star. And there was some pop culture references and some things in there, but man, an hour of highlights in sports-related news. That's what made those shows golden, because that is why you tune into that. And now, it's all blurred. And I can't agree one way or the other, right? But I know I said this before on this program, and maybe it was when I was talking to Germantown Runner last month during the live call-in show. You cannot beat political talk radio as a sports show. You cannot, and you will not do it. Rush Limbaugh will beat every political sports show, hands down, all day, every day. Period. End of discussion. So if you're going down that lane, remember this. And now that you're trying to merge the 2 lanes into the 1-lane highway, I did that this afternoon. Take your turn, right? And as you go down the 1 lane, somebody goes first and somebody goes second. It's great. But you're already going second. Maybe third, maybe fourth. Maybe you're behind Rush, Beck, Hannity. Who is that? Michael Savage is going to podcasting. Hey, Michael, come on this podcast. We'll talk about podcasting and how great it's going to be for you. Rogan is going exclusively to Spotify. There are moments in time. I know prediction shows next month, first Thursday in November, election night. So maybe I should save that. You want a free one right now? Oh! Somebody's saving me from my free prediction. Welcome to the Malliard Report. May I ask who's calling? Oh, I have to write that down because I have to bring it back
up. This is Bob from New York. I don't know. I can't sit here, and I think you just gave a pretty example of what I just said. Spoken out. Go woke, go broke. People go to these entertainment events to enjoy themselves, not to be preached to. And sports and mixing the politics in the sports and throwing stuff in people's faces, it doesn't matter who you are. We don't like it. A lot of people don't like it. And when you combine that with the fact that you have these players who have more of a platform than anybody else out there. I mean, they're making millions of dollars. They're real powerful people and names. And to take something where people working their hard-earned money to give back to, to watch a game, to either go get tickets or to go to the stadium, they're doing that to get away from the reality of life. And when you take that and you throw in, whatever you want to call it, and you put that politics in there, and people see all the destruction on the news, you're done. When you tell people, your clientele, like Gillette did, that white males are basically brutes and rapists, you're done. When you tell people, it's only one portion of the country, people of the country that matter, you're done. Sports is all inclusive. It doesn't matter what race, creed, color, whatever you are. Okay? You're a fan. You want to go there. You want to enjoy baseball. You want to enjoy basketball. You want to enjoy hockey, football, whatever it is. You start throwing the politics in there. We're done. It's like anything else in this country. It doesn't matter. It's not just sports. It's whenever you throw things in people's faces, the people that normally would have been supporting you, they will then turn on you. And that's what's taking place right now.
Yeah,
there is no place to go now to break away from this stuff. It's 24/7, and people are done with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think even more so now than ever before, right? Because you're bombarded by it. Because of we screen time, right? I mean, even during this show, what was I doing? People watching. I was on my phone. Well, I have a perfectly good computer here. I'm trying to get information more pressingly than I can on the screen in front of me, right? So we see it. It's constantly there. Constantly. So even if it was your escape, now it's not, because it's always there. And like I said,
it's always there.
I mean, NBA Finals, I referenced them this afternoon to Chris because he's a Lakers fan. I was sitting there watching ESPN. I seen they were in the finals, right? I had no idea because I've so removed myself from that circle. But I sent him a message, right? Like, hey, you're gonna be listening to my show or watching the finals? Like, just kind of jabbing him one, right? But I had no idea. If I wouldn't have been in that restaurant today, I could have not said. I would have not had a clue. So.
Yeah, it's I missed last week's because of the debate being here, and I believe it was the debate that was
last week.
Ticket, I think.
Yeah.
And I kind of like I had to watch that, and it turned into an S show. I'm not going to say it because I don't want any problems with you when you broadcast this all over. But what a crap show that was. I mean, it was both of them were bad. It was terrible, and it's kind of embarrassing, and I can see it on multiple ends, and I don't want to get into the politics of it, but it seems to me that when you look at society today, there are people that are just can't break away from their derangement, and they're so locked into one side of the coin, and they have hatred for other people because they have a different opinion. We've never been this polarized, and this is as probably the closest we've gotten to what it must have been like during a civil war, way back when, how people started polarization over, what's going on. I think we're moving towards that again.
It's not even close. Here's the problem. I have a book over on the shelf about Rockefeller, Standard Oil, right up the backyard, right? It took him 3 days to find out that the 3 days to find out the Civil War started, or maybe it was Lincoln was assassinated. One of the two of them. Took him 3 days to get the message that he, whichever one of those happened. 3 days. We know stuff within 3 seconds, and so we already have our opinion on it instantly. So,
this is the problem. This is when I tell you this is what the Civil War was technically like. This is when everybody knew what was going on. It's going to be worse than that because the information is so fast, and there's so much information flying that is untrue, but people are taking it as truth. You can't trust your own media. You can't trust anything anymore. It's pretty scary.
I've noticed, now maybe I'm just noticing things because I come at it differently, right? You know this. I'll just have conversations with people just to be gritty and have conversations, being contrarian to be contrarian, just to knock on the door to see how it goes.
Right.
People right now not only are hyper-aware, but are also hyper-inclusive of their group of people, and they grab on the things that are them. They identify as them. And if I say the sky, Brian, is black right now, you'd say, no, it's blue. And it doesn't matter if it's dark outside. No, it's blue. It's the just guttural reaction to it. Doesn't matter what the current state is.
Yep.
It's just that over the top, coming back, bam, you're wrong, I'm right. And that's the problem.
And I'll give you an example. I have someone that lives in PA that you know of, and they were commenting on different things, and I commented. I think what people need to do today is they need to start praying and put the BS aside. Stop going left and right, and maybe start praying for forgiveness, praying for help from God. Yeah, I'm going to go God to help get us back to where we were as help each one of ourselves. And it was a simple request. I wasn't picking on anybody. They were all chiming in on one side and whatever. And I said, look, we're all responsible for this. He who made he who without sin cast the first stone. You need to pray for forgiveness. And man, oh man, did I just get attacked. What we need to do is we need to pray for forgiveness. Really? We need to get rid of this president because this is where all the problems are. No, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, well,
look in the mirror. Everybody needs to look in the mirror, and everybody is part of this problem.
So let's rewind the tape, me and you, for just a second, because I totally agree with you that we need to get more centrally focused on doing good.
Yep.
Now, saying that, I'm going to back it up even further, and we're going to plow into that so everybody understands. You hear the phrase "Make America Great Again," right? That's a buzz, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what made America great in the first place? So we're going back to after 9/11, when everybody agreed that there was a common, and everybody. I mean, there's conspiracies now, right? There's conspiracies now, but in the moment, 9/12/01, we all agreed on one thing: that was bad. Those people need justice, right? Across the board. There was nobody saying
sure.
Okay, after Pearl Harbor and that process, we all agreed.
Sure.
There was the common thread, and we all worked together to make that happen. Even with Ronald Reagan, right? The end of the Cold War. Right? There was a common purpose. Yep. There was a common goal. That is what made America great, and not dividing. I have a shortcut key on my phone. Only one.
Right.
And it's not for my website. It's not for the show promo. You know what it is? It's divide and conquer. That's how often I say that to people in private messages.
And well, here's something that's very interesting. When those events did make this country better because we united together. But I think what was meant by "Make America Great Again" was we were, those little skirmishes helped us to become at the forefront of manufacturing, at development. people working.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, especially during the war, during World War II. Let's stay there because that's a nice, clean, easy discussion to have, right? Because there was a lot of
that is an easy discussion.
That's the conversation we should be having.
That gave birth to a better but from that point, we all united to defeat the common enemy, but and the enemy was that socialist, communist, semi-communist, totalitarian type of plague that was going throughout the world. But from that bred into a boom, and
that led to
we were back on course.
Led to the 50s and 60s.
People can actually get a house, right? But you can get a house and you can earn a good living, and more people are going to college, more people were working. Make America. I think the statement, what makes America great again, is make people, take pride in who they are as people. Make them, give them. Don't give them fish. Teach them how to fish. Let them earn their keep. That is how innovation comes from it. We were all very innovative. And now this new philosophy of you deserve it, which you don't. It's your right, which it isn't. And the fact that we've moved away from we the people to we the corporations, and I'm a capitalist, mind you, and I'm saying it. We've divided. You're right. Divide and conquer. They've done a great job at this. And divide, conquer, and deceive. Actually, throw a deceive in there.
Yeah, well,
because we've all been deceived by everybody, and this is scary. I'm seeing commercials from a nurse that said we should have had the control over this virus by now. No, it doesn't work that way. Vaccines take decades. Okay, if you want to know how they tested the polio vaccine to see if it worked, they did it on children, and if they didn't die, it was a candidate. So, if the general public doesn't know enough about their own darn history, because they're repeating all the bad things in history right now, and they're dividing this nation, and they're polarizing everybody. And like I said before, we need an act of God, be it a good one or a bad one, because we need to start regrouping and understanding that people are entitled to another opinion. You may disagree with them, but it doesn't mean that you're right and they're wrong. That's what made America great.
Yeah, and we
can agree to disagree, but now we're not.
But I think there's so much divide between red and blue. I think the Grand Canyon is in the middle now. It used to be there were certain things that you could kind of agree. You'd give a little, you'd get a little here or there, right? You'd still have your outlying issues, but there was the middle, and it worked. But now it seems like everything, you either are or you're not. You're anti this, you're pro that. Well, maybe there's some things that I'm kind of like, on. No, I have to have a hard and fast decision on everything.
Well, that's, from someone who's worked for some of these, your world agencies and stuff, and I know a little bit more of the inside, that they're not worth their salt. It's not a League of Nations just yet, but it's getting very close. I take a lot of things into I review a lot of information globally. I don't trust as any one source. I'm looking at dozens of sources around the globe to try to get ascertain what really is happening in this country, because we're not being there is no media anymore. There is no news media. It's not. It's a propaganda. That's all it is, and by one side.
And it's spun, right? Either side spins.
Yep. Oh,
right. And most of it is just copy and paste from somebody.
Yeah. So when you get this, and the fact of the matter is, like I said before, I think a lot of people are uneducated. I mean, we're talking about people that have doctorate degrees that are that uneducated. And, people are just believe what they want to believe. They can't, and no one at this point will ever concede, well, maybe if, maybe he was doing the right thing, or maybe they're right. They should do certain things. Like, I'm not going to be specific because I don't want to pick one side versus the other. And, you mentioned, as soon as you mention the word Trump or you see a red hat, it's like a bull. It's like the running of the bulls.
Yep.
People just go absolutely ballistic. And I happen to I'll say it straight up. The right side of the country seems to be a lot more tolerant, and they're a lot more reserved than the left side. And we're not talking about the extremists, like the supremacists, no matter you're black, white, pink, blue, religious,
yeah, I was going to
whatever.
say, any supremacist, either side is a problem.
Yeah.
That's here and there.
You know, and they will just, like, I'm utterly disgusted that there are people that were wishing death to this president. I didn't like Obama, but I didn't wish any type of death on any president. I'm sorry. That is just...
That's fact, and that's how it should be.
You're not even human at that point. So this is what's going on, but this is the problem. When you have a company like Nike wants to put a Betsy Ross sneaker out, who is a really, you know, staunch abolitionist. She was feverishly against slavery. And you get some guy who's a subpar quarterback who's very uneducated saying she's racist. Apparently he doesn't know his history. And for Nike to rest on this guy's opinion, it's racist, and just go with it. I mean, you want to talk about idiots? You look like an idiot.
So
sometimes some people have to start standing up and saying, no, you guys are idiots. You have no clue what's going on.
So
Do you remember the saying, Jim?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the saying that when you get rid of your history, when you tear down these statues, when you forget your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
That's another one.
And we're repeating it. We are repeating it. You know, the Civil War and these monuments. Yeah, some of them have a racist backing to it because of the conflict itself. It is a reminder to everybody who passes it to never get to that point again. Let's start doing things so we don't get to that point where we're divided. Let's do things so we don't have slavery. Let's do things, you know, we're talking about all these different things, and mind you, right now you can go to a slave auction in the Middle East and buy people.
Which is just ludicrous.
People of color. So it's like, you know, like there's a lot of hypocrisy going on here. There's a lot of BS going on here, and there's a lot of like really bad information dissemination. And some people get it, and some people don't. But then everybody's polarized. We have a big problem. I fear what the hell is going to happen.
So you mentioned polarized a few times now, and I have to mention this because this just became the thought in my mind. Because over literally stage left of the studio, I have my Roger Stone signed poster that I got from him. Right, and love him, hate him, whatever. I have a gift that I send to people too, from him, from the Get Me Roger Stone on Netflix. Which you hate me because I'm effective, right? And that red hat, every time I see one of those, I see him. I see Roger because he is effective, and that's why I brought him on multiple times, because I want to understand that effectiveness, that tick, 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 because that is phenomenal when it works for you. See Trump, right? And if it doesn't work on the other side of things, see like Mitt Romney and some other people that he's worked with that didn't quite get it. Right?
Right.
And it has worked so... Trump has taken it to a whole different level compared to some of those people. But it works. That's why I enjoy those engagements with Roger. Do I agree with him on everything? No, I don't agree with every guest ever. Everything they've ever said. There's no one that I'd say...
Right. I don't agree with everybody either, but, you know, one of the comments is... people are trying to figure out if Trump was faking things or not. And you know what? All I can say is there's a lot of things that take place in this world right in front of your face, right in front of everybody's face, that are really bad. I mean, like, dangerously bad. There's almost wars taking place on a daily basis. And had the general public known what was really taking place, one, at this point in time, so polarized, right, left. Some would believe it, some wouldn't believe it. So, people act as if they know everything about everything, and they don't. And, Roger Stone's one of those guys. I think the whole case against him is bunk. And if people don't realize this is really an important case, because if they could railroad this guy, if they could railroad General Flynn, if they could do all these things, we don't live in that country that has the right the branches and the fail safes and things to keep people safe. We have a bigger problem than Black Lives Matter, because we're all being we're less than 30 seconds to midnight, and people just don't realize it. And this is a big problem. This is why no one wants to go to those sports games. No one wants,
And
we're being lied to.
The other problem with this is with Roger. We'll just use Roger because I brought him up, and I shouldn't, but he's that polarizing force. I mean, like 1A from the show history. Like, his show gets downloaded every. I mean, I still tweet it. It still gets downloads. It's phenomenal, right? Okay, full disclosure, right? That's why I bring him up so much, because he is that force in this show's history.
Yep.
But either you are so. That is, there's not too many people that see it because of what it is, right? Because it's a political game for the one side, it's a political game for the other side, and there are not too many people actually seeing it going, damn, this is bad. That's the problem.
Something about the debate that really bothered me, and I would have come out, I guess if I was up there, is... I wouldn't have come out as angry as Trump, and I understand why he was angry, because the person that started all this attacking him and spying on him was standing right across from him. Okay? That guy was part of the administration that started all this crap, and then whenever it'll be revealed. But when there was asked the question, like, RBG being replaced, it is the president's right. It's in the Constitution, that document that people want to forget. They want to take your First Amendment rights and your second, whatever. It's in there that says that the president has the right to assign a new person, and the Senate gets to vote on it. So it has nothing to do with dying wishes, or my last will and testament wishes for them to wait. No, it doesn't work that way. See, this is the problem we have. We have a bunch of the kids that grew up that were all winners, in quotes, that everybody got a trophy, that everybody got a ribbon. Well, now they're the ones that are looting and robbing and making all these absurd claims, and now we're suffering from this. It's a form of bad parenting, and it's insanity how I want to say how people think, but I don't think people actually do think anymore. One of the worst states, I gotta be it. You're in it right now. I know a ton of people from that state, and man, there's a lot of viciousness taking place in PA right now.
Like I said, if you're not paying attention to Pennsylvania politics, you should, because it is amazing right now.
It really is a hot spot. I don't want to take too much of your time. I mean,
I've got one more question for you. We're different politically, but I've got one question, and I know your answer, and I think this needs to be something that needs talked about, because no matter which side you are, blue or red, this issue should be an issue on your agenda because it's important. You ready?
Sure.
Term limits. Why don't we have them?
Are you talking about
why does somebody get to serve for 47 years?
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Okay, I definitely want term limits. And I'll give you a great example. This is why it was one of the reasons why I can't stand the son of a bitch. In New York City, we voted, I think 3 or 4 times to say that we want term limits, no more than two terms. Okay, the people of New York City voted for this, like 3 to 4 times, and yet Bloomberg, the piece of crap that he is, got the city council to overturn that so he can do a 3rd term. So what's the point of the vote at that point?
Yeah, well, that's a whole other can of worms, right? That's the whole...
Okay.
But
I'm all for the term limits. I'm all for actually whatever the law is, I'm all for the Congress and Senate to have it first. No exemptions. So. None of this exemption stuff. They should be paying for their own health insurance out of their pocket. Right off the bat. You know what? If you want to give them lifetime, fine, but they're paying for it. And we should be buying into the same pool. We shouldn't have to go through this whole mess that was created. See, before all this stuff happened, we had something called an 80-20. I've always said it was 80-20. 80% of the country was okay, 20% wasn't. And instead of fixing the 20% and allowing the 20% to buy into the health insurance, because technically we, the people, are the employers of this government, so we could buy into the employee fund, which is where the Senate gets it and all the federal employees get it, they screwed 100%. This is the problem. And I think not only, I think they all need to be recalled. I think there's every congressman, every senator, every representative, be it city, state, and local, federal, they need to all be recalled. That none of them are doing anything for we the people. That is what their job was initially, and they need to start, doing it for us. And there's very few people that are doing that.
And that solves another one of my problems, which is campaigning. That's a whole other conversation for another day because I'm looking at the clock. And I'll have to do a show. Maybe, I have this stupid website that I have not figured out what I want to do with. And I just had this idea. Malliard.party. Maybe I need to put my own political platform together and lay it out.
Hey, I ran for president. I did run for president once when Obama was running. Somehow I may have gotten on I think it was South Carolina, North Carolina. And because my last name's Bowden, I think they thought, Florida State, boom, whatever. But, I have no delusions that I'm going to win those type of things. But you should do these things. And yes, I think there should be no more than $1 million raised per candidate, per state, to be used in the election. Everybody should be on that level playing ground. And I think the person you vote for at the end is the one that has the most money left over. Because at least they know how to manage it.
Reverse monopoly, right? Like, you can raise
Reverse monopoly, yep.
There's something to that. I kind of like that.
But I will be running for Chuck Schumer's seat in this state. So whether I win or not, I'm going to. I'm not pulling out. I'm going to pull out every stop, and I'm going to let the country know exactly what a piece of blank he is.
Okay, here we go.
So thank you. You got it.
Okay. Well, I'm setting the agenda. December : political reforms we want to see. December, first Tuesday into September. Setting the agenda now. If we got predictions in November, political reforms you want to see first Thursday. Good grief. First Tuesday, we're going to do that. I think. There we go. So be looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to take any more of your time. If anybody like Dave wants to come in or anybody, but you have a great night and
you too, man. You
got it, brother.
Yeah. Well, I'll catch up in a little bit.
Trust me. I know. I know. All right.
Thank
Later.
You,
I'm going to chat.
Okay.
Bye.
I'm there. Duck Pond. Telling you. That's great. There we go. First, somebody remind me. Somebody make a note. First Tuesday in December, we're going to do political reforms. It'll be after the election. I think term limits has to be on there. We're going to write the platform for the Malliard.party, right? And then we'll put it up. We'll just leave it there. We'll make adjustments as we need to. I think this is a good move. Probably not. Probably too political for some people, right? Not politically correct. Term limits. I think campaigning shouldn't start until Labor Day. At all. No nominations, no need for any of that. We can get into that as well. But tonight, Halloween, COVID, what else is on your mind? I think there's still somebody out there who has something they want to say, because we kind of just ran a lot of things, but there's a lot of things else out there in the world right now. We've got about 10 minutes left, so now's your opportunity. Let your voice be heard. That's what this show's all about. This show tonight, I do a number of interview shows that are just for me, right? I get the guests, I get to talk to them. I do take some of your questions. But tonight is your night to have that dialogue. Now, somebody said, I didn't write down who, and they're going to take credit for it in the chat room, and I'm going to mention them, calling them out, that Joe Rogan sold out. Right? I did see somebody say that in my chat room, and I'm here to defend Joe Rogan. Why? I'm still not sure why I'm about ready to say what I'm about ready to say. But I will. Oh, that was Chris. Oh, sorry, Chris. But I'm going to say it anyways. I believe in you, and you're going to understand when I say this. I don't need to be on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Periscope, all these other things. I don't need to be there. I don't. It's great. Everybody who listens on Spotify to the program, hello. YouTube, hello. iTunes, Apple Podcast, hello. Stitcher, hello. Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, hello. Malliard.com. If you're actually coming to the site and you're typing it in, you're coming in, and you're old-fashioned and gritty, I love you. I appreciate you making that effort. Now, if you're catching on or Google Podcast, okay, you get the point. You can get the show a lot of places. That's great for you. As for me, I mentioned Malliard.com, right? That is what I'm paying for. What I'm paying for. Well, what the sponsors are paying for, in theory, right? They're driving the show. So that's where my money goes, right? But, big problem here. Big problem here. 1 in 25 people who listen to this show have ever been to Malliard.com to pull the show, or to listen to the show, or to chat in the duck pond, whatever it is. 1 in 25. Ballpark. Okay? So, while you're out there getting it for free, I have to put it out somewhere, and that costs me money. So, back to Rogan for a minute. If you have to tighten that funnel and you get paid, it's a great thing. It's still on the internet. Now, is Rogan going to be part of that Spotify premium that you have to pay for to get it? I don't know that. That might flip my decision a little bit. Okay, breaking news, Howard Stern just signed another $120 million of Sirius XM. Does that show still carry that juice? I don't know. I don't know if Howard Stern carries that $120 million juice anymore. I mean, I don't know. I never was a listener of his. I don't know. So that's that, okay? I don't know. But if you have the opportunity to make $200 million or $120 million, and you could still be heard, be heard. Okay? Now, if Spotify came to me and said, hey Jim, here's $50,000 a year. We'll pick up your hosting and you can just do your show and we'll take care of everything else. Spotify, you listening? I'm cheaper. I'm a lot cheaper. And I do see I'm giving another prediction away. Man, I'm going to kick myself next month when I have to give predictions. I do see potential for another Podcast One, Spotify, like there's these networks starting to accumulate exclusive shows, right? It's starting to become competitive, like like Hulu and Netflix kind of deal. And if anybody, I swear right now, if I have somebody else come to me and say, dude, I've got the Netflix of podcasting and you need in. You don't have the Netflix of podcasting. You don't have the budget for the Netflix of podcasting. Right? You just don't have it. And you don't have that reach. You may have the concept for the next Netflix of podcasting, but you do not have the Netflix of podcasting. I have great ideas too. I have a bunch of great ideas. Do you want me to sit here and list them to you for you? I have two radio networks, my own stream, this website. Right? I have a bunch of great ideas. And you know what? I have another one that's on the verge of busting out, and I hope somebody still out there listening is like, hey, this other guy's got it, right? And I want in because now's the time to get in, because in the next 3 to 4 months, this brand is going to explode. I just know it. I believe it wholeheartedly. There's no facts. There's no anything about it. I just know it and believe it. Sorry, not sorry. Because I put the pieces in place and I'm doing more work than I have ever done. And I'm going to be doing way more work than I have done. Oh yeah, Adam Curry, the Godfather of podcasting. Yeah, that's my one major regret. I started this site in 2005. I wish I would have got into that podcasting thing, even though it took me another 5 years. Of course, I didn't even know what podcasting was in 2005 when I started this site. But that's here or there. That's another problem for another day. Right? So I'm dead serious about this, though. In the next 2, 3, 4 months, I have built up this plan in my mind. It's going to pop one way or the other, and somebody should get involved. I'm just saying. I don't know who it is. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm about ready to pour gas on my own fire, and it's going to be big. I don't want to get into it right now, unless somebody really wants to know. I mean, if somebody calls in and says, talk to me about it, I'll talk to you about it. But I just know. Oh, yeah, and there's that. But that's a whole nother conversation. Thanks, Bowden, for reminding me of the other problem that I had why I didn't get in podcasting in 2005. Dial-up internet. Okay. So we've got 4 minutes left. So if you got a quick one, now's the time. Right? If you don't want to get in, that's fine. Let's take a moment, though, here and think about a few things that we've kind of talked about. Jab. If you get highly emotional based on political posts on Facebook, think about that. Why is that action happening in your heart? Why are you so upset by something that you really can't control? Okay? Why is that so offensive to you? Okay, now, I know. Okay, I'm going to say it. We need to be more aware of other people besides ourselves. And I'm trying to get better about this. Trying to give. The problem is people take, right? No, you give. You don't expect anything back from them. It is what it is, right? And I'm preparing to give exponentially. More than I already do, but with my own stuff in a big scheming way. Just to make everything better. Or not. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be a flop. I mean, I've done a lot of things that have been full-blown flops through the years. Don't know until you try. And I'm betting on myself here. Side notes. We'll get into that here after a bit. Okay. Looking at the clock, trying to figure out how much time I have left and how much stuff I want to talk about, because I don't want to get too far into something and be out of time. Pacing is a big thing. Free McAfee. Man, if he really did some of those tax evasion things, okay. I don't know. I'm not his accountant. I'm not the IRS. I think there's something there. I don't know if there is or not. If there is, there is. If there isn't, there isn't. Somebody needs to know. I can't say one or the other. Probably isn't, but maybe there is. I don't know. The asteroid's heading our way? Sure. We could only hope. No, I'm just kidding. I enjoy life too much for that. I mean, I don't think I could break up and hit the right people. Make my life better, so we just can't have them. Germantown Runner just posted about a rare albino shark caught in Britain. That's scary. Beyond all scary. Okay, so rapidly approaching the minute left in the show. So the people who have made it to this point appreciate the content. And I appreciate you for sticking with this. Now, having said that, to say this. I have things in my head, and I have steps, and I have this process, and I'm tightening it up, and I want to be ready to go. Now, what makes this go, right? There are two things that make anything go. People pushing it and dollars pushing it, right? Now, I don't expect everybody to give dollars and cents, right? It costs money to do that. I fully appreciate that and I respect that. So let's flip the show the other direction. Germantown Runner intro music is coming back. Probably prediction show. What? Not the same music, different music. That's what I'm saying. This show grew organically, and it's going to grow organically again on your shoulders, your shares, your retweets, your likes, your follows, your da-da-da-da-da, all of that stuff. It's going to happen. Talk to